What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Queer Collective podcast. My name is Karbon.
And I'm Emily.
And welcome to the show.
Yay!
What are we talking about today?
First of all, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. We got a fun new sign that says Queer Collective.
Thank you to Rhiannon, our mentor in conscious economics. Thank you so much.
She got us a beautiful sign as a gift. So I'm super excited about it. I love it.
I know, me too. I'm so excited. Look at that. It's so official.
Yes. For those just listening, it's just like a cool neon sign that just says Queer Collective, and I love it.
And we're really excited about it.
Yeah. If you want, you can just go look at it on our Instagram. So today is going to be a story time. This past weekend, we went to Toronto Island.
The islands.
And we were on a bit of a trip, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you know, you know. And and we definitely have some funny story times, as we always do anytime we venture out into the world. Something ridiculous always happens.
Always.
It never doesn't.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like, it keeps it fun, it keeps it fresh,
Totally.
And it keeps it interesting. It's never boring when we, release our wildest inner child. So.
Yeah. And it gives us something to talk about, which I love. So I kind of want to like pretext this, I guess, with our mindset going into the summer, like especially mine, I'll say. Like I said last week, I have just graduated. Yeehaw. It's so exciting. But before that, I was obviously doing school full time. I was working part time, and we were trying to run Queer Collective. And basically, like, obviously that's a recipe for a burnout.
Duh.
Obviously
you get burnt out. You're doing way too many things at once.
Yeah. So that's kind of always been my baseline. I think that the reason I do that is just like, I don't know, reflecting the reason that I do that is I think it's me trying to avoid addressing my emotions and addressing like just silent time in my head. Like that's always been something that's really challenging for me. And it's like something that's like sort of effed up my mental health and just like my way of coping, which obviously isn't sustainable or healthy, has been to just keep myself extremely, extremely busy.
Yeah.
And I realize though that I really value fun and relaxation, and that's what I want to prioritize. And that's, I guess, like my like resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I totally get that. And just from like an outsider perspective or third party perspective, she's literally, you are always just keeping yourself busy with work and more work. And if the work is done, then you come up with more work.
Yeah. And
if you're not working, you're distracting yourself. Like you're on your phone the whole time while you're quote unquote resting. Yeah. Which is not really resting. So you're always just, your brain's on.
Yeah, I'm always just distracting myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is something I definitely need to work on. I think I just like wasn't happy this year being in school. Like I wasn't happy with the program I was in anymore. I was like in a business school and decided I didn't want to be there anymore. So just my relaxation time, like I got very addicted to my phone because it was just like avoiding. Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah. Anywho, we recently went to an astrology reading with Sheena.
Shout out to Sheena.
It was excellent. If you are interested in doing it, you should definitely go book one with her.
I would recommend.
Yeah. We'll like put her at here so you know where to go find her. It was really, really great, and we'll probably do an episode like more in depth about it next week. But
let us know if you even want an astrology reading episode, because we have a lot that we learned during that reading.
Yeah. Like so much cool information, and it was like eerily accurate, I would say. It was really cool.
So strangely accurate. Like I went in, I didn't like tell her anything about myself yet. She was telling me about myself. Yeah. Based on her findings, and I don't really know how she does it. I can't really speak to it, but it was so strangely and eerily accurate, and I highly recommend everybody do this because it's so cool to see like literally your past, present, and future kind of written in like the universe, you know?
It was cool.
It's super cool.
She basically told me that in order to kind of like reach my highest self, which like she called my like North Pole, which is like the person that you're meant to be, I need to start like tapping into my inner child and like really listening to myself. Like she told me that like I do have all the answers like within me, but if I kind of revert to old habits and I don't know, just distracting myself, then I'm not really going to reach that. And it kind of just like reaffirmed what I was already thinking, and it reminded me to sort of like check in with myself.
Yeah, and then and this goes, I feel like, for anyone who's just constantly distracting themselves or constantly overworking themselves, etc. Like, it's never something that helps you reflect. Obviously, like, you know, working hard is honorable and you need to do it in order to get to where you want to go, but it's not all that you need to do. I think a lot of people have this like misconception of like, well, if I want to succeed, I need to always grind, work hard, go forward, never look back unless it's to see how far you've come, and you know, just like keep on that grind, like wake up at 5 a.m, do your workout, whatever. And yes, that's like good in some cases, but also when do you take a break?
And
you know,
like from my perspective, yeah, that's going to get you there. That's going to get you to your goal. But I think the biggest problem that I've had in the past and that a lot of people have is like, once you get to that goal, are you going to be happy?
And that's
how long are you going to be happy for?
I wanted to touch on that actually, as you mentioned it, because a lot of people think that once you reach that goal, you will be happy. But I know, just speaking from experience, I have done what you do and, you know, hopefully won't continue to do, but where I just always work myself down to the bone and in order to get to a certain goal. And then I reach that goal, but then I'm not even happy. I can't celebrate it. I can't appreciate it. I can't like, you know, feel happy for myself, because when you're in that mindset, the next thing, as soon as you reach a goal, instantly you think, okay, good, what's the next one?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't have time to like really be in the moment.
Totally. And I think the most interesting thing there is that something really incredible can happen to you. You reach that really big goal and you'll have maybe like an hour of like serotonin and real big excitement. But if something bad were to happen to you, you'll let that impact you for like weeks or months, you know, like it's really interesting. And I think my biggest takeaway and one of the biggest lessons that I've learned this year is that you really need to learn how to enjoy the journey and not just work towards a goal. Like you're going to waste your life doing that.
For sure.
You really need to prioritize the things that bring you joy and bring you happiness. And for me, that's going on little trips and just enjoying myself and like tapping into my inner child, like true play.
Yeah, like
brings me happiness.
We were having so much fun at the islands. Oh my God, you guys, we spent like the whole day there, and the whole day. And the thing is too, this was like, that day was meant to be. We woke up, we had like a really nice breakfast that Chef Amelia cooked. Thank you very much. And the day was beautiful. It was super sunny. It was warm. It just felt amazing. And we bought tickets to go to the island. Initially, we were like, maybe we should just go and buy tickets there. And then roommate Meg said like, oh, maybe we should pre-buy it. And we were like, I guess. Okay. And we did that. And when we got there, we realized that they were actually all sold out of tickets because of COVID-19. The limit size is much smaller. So it just happened to like work out perfectly. The fact that we got like some of the last tickets available and we were able to, you know, go to the island and enjoy our time, be at the beach. It was just such a fun day. We did so much, so many activities, had so much fun, spent time with friends. And I really just want to go through the whole day because it was like truly magical.
There's definitely some funny stories.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us one?
Okay. So we get on the island and we're kind of biking around, and we went to this part of the beach and it was basically entirely empty. Yeah. And we go to one little part where there's like some trees, and we set up the slack line and a hammock and like set up our whole space. And it was just like so beautiful. But the funny thing was, I realized that like all of our conversations were surrounding around poop. And I'm like, this has never been like a key topic of conversation for us. Why are we talking about this? And I realized that Karbon was the one bringing it up like every 2 seconds. And it was because you poor thing was real constipated.
Listen, I was in a lot of pain. The reason I was bringing it up is because I couldn't stop thinking about it because my stomach hurt so bad, man. Yeah. It hurt so bad. And then we got into stories like Meg and Mark were talking about how they swam in the water like last summer and went up to like one of those gross. Like weird platforms that's like in the water. And then they sat on it and they like with their butts, just their bare booties hanging off of that platform. And they're like, should we take dumps here? And then like it was just them at night in the water, just like and like turds falling, I assume. So gross. It's so gross. But then I was like, I kind of want that right now because really I would feel better.
Yeah. And you were like disappearing for lengths at end, and I realized it was you just like going and trying to poop. But then we went on this walk because we were gonna like set up a fire, and I was really excited to learn how to start a fire because our friend Mark has like super good nature skills, and we're planning on going on a big camping trip this summer. So I'm like, I need to learn some nature skills. Stat.
Fact.
So Karbon and I, we went on a little walk down the beach to try and find like more kindle, and I was picking things up and I realized like my arms were super full and you were holding one effing stick. And I'm like, bro, you gonna start picking some stuff up? And she was standing there like majestically with her one stick and was like, I think me and my walking stick need to go find a spot. You're like, the time is now.
The time is now. Man, that time was like a long time coming. And I don't want this whole podcast to be surrounded around poop. But since we're here, I did find a spot and it was a nice log and the light was hitting just right. And it was like majestic, like a golden hour. Oh my God, it was golden hour.
It totally was.
It was picture perfect. It was just like these beautiful trees, this beautiful land, and golden hour hitting just like through the trees, shining through. And that was beautiful. And I was like, this is it. This is my time to shine. But in my head, as I was finding the spot and as I was finding a leaf, for later afterwards. And I was like looking around the whole time. Marc-Andre, our friend, was in my head. Like he was my narrator. Like, but it wasn't just like his regular self. It was his most flamboyant self was the voice that was in my head narrating my journey. I was like, oh my God, I found a log. And this is like so good right now. And yeah.
He talks like that like 10% of the time.
Maybe not even.
Yeah.
And then like when I found a leaf, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm going to grab this. Boom. This is for my booty. This is for my booty. And yeah, the whole time, like it was just like this flamboyant, awesome experience in my head.
It was hilarious when you came back. She came like wandering back down the beach and you were wearing your little like bucket hat. I'll put up a photo. It's really cute. But she was walking over and it was like smile ear to ear and you were still holding your little walking stick and you were so happy and you just like described the whole experience. It was really funny.
We should move on from this topic.
We will definitely move on from poop now. I apologize, everyone. So after that, Karbon and I decided we'd go on like a little walk, but the sun started setting and it was absolutely stunning. And we're like, okay, let's walk down towards the beach, and we see all of our pals like walking towards us. And it was such a lovely moment. Like the horizon was like infinite. Like the
sky was like cotton candy.
Yeah, in the sky and like the water just like connected and was endless, and it was so beautiful.
So beautiful.
And we all walked over to. Are we recording?
Yeah. We're recording.
And we all walked over to like this part of the rocks. Like we were on a sandy beach, but we decided to go over to these big rocks, and all of us were sitting there just staring at the sunset. And I think it was Marc Andre. He like suggested that we all jump in the water, and the water was freezing cold.
Freezing cold water.
And little me deciding that
you decided you were gonna embrace your inner child.
Hell yeah.
And you were the first to be like, oh, jump in the lake. Okay. Starts taking off her clothes, gets down to her bathing suit, and everybody, like a few people, not everybody, takes a step in, like just their feet, and they're like, cold. And you're just like, zoom, and you just dive right in into the water fully. This thing is like ice cold, and you're just like, and then you come out and you're like, I feel alive. I feel great. Everybody do it. So then everybody started doing it.
Yeah. And I went in with everyone. I was like, I'll go again.
Yeah.
I did it like 3 times.
Yeah. So everybody went in. Everybody was like stripping down to like their little boxers and stuff like that. Or some people even like they didn't bring swimsuits because we knew the water was cold. So just like butt naked. Went in, came out, rebaptized or something. And it honestly, it felt amazing. Like it was super, super cold while in there, and you're like, oh my God, it's cold. But then as soon as you get out, you're like, I feel so good. Yeah. I'm alive right now.
It felt like a honest to God rebirth for me.
Yeah, I felt rebirthed for real.
And the reason why I was like so down to do it is because we got like a new colleague at work, Cassandra. Every day she jumps in the freezing cold water. Yeah. And it's like part of her routine, and she does like this like special breathing.
As like a ritual. Have y'all ever heard of the Wim Hof method? It's like this dude who literally his nickname is the Iceman because he swims in like glacier water. Insanity. And he has this like special breathing method that helps him like cope with the cold and everything like that. And it's more than that. I wouldn't do it justice explaining like why it's good for you and stuff like that because I don't know enough about it. But I know that she told us she does that literally every morning, even in the winter.
That's wild.
Hello?
It's a big no for me.
Hello? She literally was like, yep, I'm out there on the lake. I bring a pickaxe with me. I dig a hole in the ground and I jump in. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Are you like not insane because it's super cool, but like, holy. Yeah. So anyway, she inspired us.
Yes, totally. I was like, I need to try this because she talks about it like it's like
incredible.
Absolutely incredible.
Like it's like rejuvenating. And it honestly is. She wasn't kidding. And it's not like we didn't even go like hardcore like she does, like in the winter time.
I'm not about to do it in the winter, but it was great in the spring. Would recommend.
We would recommend in the springtime.
It was beautiful.
For sure.
Yeah. But it was funny the other day at work, we had like these morning meetings that are usually at 10, but our boss like moved it I think to like 9:30 or 9, and she was like out at the water and it was kind of cold that day.
She was out like you could see through like her little Zoom screen. She was like out in the cold, the wind was blowing in her hair. She was wearing like a coat, but like underneath you could see the swimsuit there, and I was like, oh, she's for real.
It was like her turn to talk and she was like, yeah, so I'm just like about to get in the water but here's my update. Like, oh my God.
I'm like, yeah, she was not kidding, not even a little bit.
No, I respect that though.
Respects, mad respects, dude.
I wish I had that much motivation, honestly, to like wake up that early in the morning and
just jump in the freezing cold water.
Yeah, and like run and
like every day.
Yeah. I don't know how people do it, but I saw this video recently which is like describes me and my outlook on running. But it was like, I don't understand how people run in the cold, like run in the winter and everything. And then he was like, but I also don't understand how people run in the heat, in like the super hot weather. So he's like, I guess my conclusion is I just don't understand how people run. I'm like, yeah, I agree. There's probably like 2 weeks where I would go on a run, maybe.
Right, like maybe in the spring/fall.
Yeah,
which usually lasts like each like 2 weeks.
A collective 4 weeks. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm just not gonna run.
Honestly, I feel
thick
like
ass thunder thighs are not meant for running. Anyway, so the rest of our summer, I'm kind of like trying to plan to enjoy my summer as much as possible because
I'm glad. I'm so glad.
One, Sheena told me so.
And you know, if Sheena says,
then you gotta do it.
You gotta do. Sheena say you do.
Sheena say relax. I say, okay.
That's it.
I relax. So we planned this like week-long camping trip in the middle of nowhere. It's called like Wakami Lake, 8 hours away. There's like no cell reception, no nothing. And
I think there's no cell or very weak signal, I believe.
Yeah. And I haven't been camping since I was probably like 9.
Yeah, I haven't been camping in like years.
Yeah.
Years and years. Like there's nothing left of like whatever camping gear that I had. I think I might have like a 15-year-old sleeping bag. So we're wish us luck, but we're really looking forward to learning skills, like nature skills, and actually putting them to practice and like challenging ourselves and seeing, you know, if we can survive the woods.
But yeah, we were realizing while we were building a fire and like out on the beach that a week is a really long time.
Really long time.
And I'm a bit nervous. I'm like, wow, we're really gonna have to plan things like
really
thoroughly.
Plan things. Because like there's so many, like at first I was like, oh, this is gonna be fine. It's gonna be pretty easy breezy lemon squeezy. No, and then after we were on the island, I was like, oh, we need like skills, like how to make a fire and how to like set up a tent and how to like keep the bugs away and how to like set up our food so it doesn't get like eaten by whatever. And things like for example, at the end of the day, after spending all day at the island, I was like, oh, I'm so glad to be home.
Like in my bed. I know.
And like so glad to be home, comfortable, taking a hot shower. There's no hot shower till we're going because COVID.
I feel like the first couple of days are going to be hard, but then we're going to get into it. But I'm excited for the challenge, honest to God. Like I've spent so much of my time in front of a computer screen because of COVID.
So much.
Like online learning, and then obviously majority of our skills are digital. Like we do video production, like video editing.
You do graphic art. Yeah.
It's so much of it is just in front of a computer screen.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to disconnect.
Me too. And I'm really, really excited to like put to practice the topic of the day, which is embracing your inner child and just like allowing yourself to not like stress about these like adult, quote unquote, adult responsibilities and truly just like try to be my fullest childlike self and explore what that is and explore what that means and like connect to it, because you know throughout your life. And this has been okay. Can I get into this topic because I'm gonna start talking about psychedelics? What up?
I love it. Yeah.
So I have been watching a lot of TED Talks. I have been reading a lot of research papers. I have been following medical trials that have been happening with psychedelic medicines, primarily psilocybin, which is shrooms. So what I have discovered in my research is that when you're a kid, there's certain neurological pathways that you use that typically is that, you know, like the curious child that's like, what's this? What's that? And why do we do this? And why do we do that? And what does this button do? That side of like you as a child. Yeah. As you grow older, that starts to disappear. And the reason it starts to disappear is because we have certain neurological pathways that we tend to use more and more and more as we grow older, which is the pathways that, for example, promote stress and anxiety and thinking about your future and what you're going to do next and like what's the next task for work, et cetera, et cetera. Like those, the more that you use that side of you, the more it gets reinforced and the less that you use that curious child side and the more that you lose it over time. This is like a thing that actually just happens to adults over time. So what they have found in research with psychedelics, primarily with psilocybin, is that when you go on that kind of a journey, that kind of a trip, the psychedelic trip, that starts to open up the neurological pathways that allow you to tap into your inner child. And the brain starts to form automatically, like the brain knows what to do. It starts to form new pathways and new parts of your brain are now being like activated, and you're creating new pathways that allow you to be curious again and allow you to enjoy things in a way that you forgot how to enjoy. And to me, that's super, super interesting because, you know, psychedelics currently are illegal, right? And it really makes you think of like, well, if the research shows that this, you know, allows you to be more curious and allows you to explore your inner child and connects you with nature when you take it, and just makes you feel more appreciative and happier and more alive. And it's been proven, maybe I shouldn't say proven because they're still like, you know, doing trials, but it's starting to show that it's treating, and not only treating, but curing things like depression and anxiety. And, you know, they're using it to treat like ADHD and like PTSD and stuff like that. And it's legal. And I'm like, man, what if, you know, we know the answers in ourselves and the system has suppressed it and pushed us to suppress it to the point where we're so lost that we have no idea how to get back to that inner child. I see the reason I'm bringing up psychedelics in particular is because, like, to me, it's super interesting that it brings that back. Yeah. So you never really lost it. Like, it's hidden there. Yeah. But sometimes people can do it and access it through things like meditation and stuff like that. But for those who are maybe like more lost, you know, that kind of a compound really brings that out of you. And it just like makes me feel like, man, this is what we're supposed to do. Not particularly take psychedelics all the time, but like we're supposed to tap into our inner child 100%. Because it makes us happy.
Totally.
And it keeps us curious and it keeps us motivated and active and just, you know, like, totally. I miss it.
Totally. Yeah. And like that ties back into what I was saying earlier about what Sheena told me, where it's like you have the answers within you, but you really need to like tap into your inner child. And
yes.
Like, it's so true.
I feel like the answers are there.
So true. So true. And what you're talking about like these neural pathways, it definitely happened to me. Like when I was in like high school and younger, I wasn't taking ADHD medication at that point, and I was just like wacky AF. Like that was just like my personality, like almost like class clown. You know what I mean? Because like I just couldn't sit still. So even if I wanted to learn, like I couldn't, you know, like I have like really, really severe ADHD and like just never medicated myself. So I was just all over the place.
Right.
But once I started taking it, it did change my life for the better, for sure. Like it allowed me to start learning, which I didn't even realize that I loved, but I do really like learning, and I do like being able to channel all this energy that I have towards actually creating something, because before I couldn't focus long enough to be able to do that. Yeah. You know, but the negative side effect, I'll say, is I think it did sort of trigger me to start getting into those like kind of adult pathways, and like I really lost that part of me that I loved and that I know a lot of my friends loved as well, where it was just like I was goofy and fun and like spontaneous, you know? And I think I do like being on my medication, I won't lie, but I think I need to consciously be tapping into that side of myself while I take it. You know?
And you know what? Going back to the whole little psychedelic piece, you never know. They might come up with like a new way of treating it through natural medicine, such as potentially like psilocybin or whatever the case may be. And who knows, maybe down the road you won't need your you know, pharmaceutical ADHD medication. Maybe you could treat it naturally in a way that would allow you to tap into that inner child more often and like easier than by taking your current ADHD medication. I don't know. It's definitely not something that, you know, it will definitely happen, but it could happen. I feel like that would be quite interesting. You know, like indigenous people have been, they have known about this for so long, and they've been doing rituals with like shrooms, for example, since the dawn of time, for a long time. And it's a ritual. It's a spiritual guided ritual. It's not let's party and get effed up. It's like let's heal ourselves. So this conversation deviated a bit, but it all has to do with just accessing your inner child and allowing yourself to explore it.
Yeah. And you definitely, you don't need to be on psychedelics to do that.
No, definitely not. I said, people can reach that through meditation.
Yeah. And I hope this podcast maybe inspires you to tap into your
explore your inner child, man. Get curious.
Yeah. And just have fun, because despite the fact that there's a pandemic, there is so much that you can still do, and there's so much that's still accessible to us outdoors.
Yeah.
And that is the perfect place to play.
So I think that's it for us.
Totally.
Remember to explore your inner child. Remember to have fun. And if you get anything out of what we've talked about today, maybe put just this next thing into practice, which is to just say yes more often to fun experiences. Yeah. Because I know that especially pre-pandemic, I always said no. Yeah, majority of the time. Hey, you want to go to this party? No. Hey, you want to go out and do this? No. Hey, you want to go to the island? I can't. I'm working. Or I can't. I should do this. Tomorrow. I have a busy day, or whatever. Start saying yes a little bit more. Yeah. You'd be surprised with what you get out of it. And I guarantee you that for majority of those yeses, you're going to be happy you said yes.
I agree. That's a nice takeaway. Yeah. I love that.
So that's it for us, everybody. Thank you so much for watching / listening. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video if you're on YouTube. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Totally. And with all of that being said, we will see you in the next pod.